Hi, it's Tom at app19.com with a quick overview of a process that might be used for selecting the quote-unquote best apartment. This process integrates use of Apartment Auditor into the normal search process that you would use to find your best apartment. So let's start off with step one. We're going to follow a path here. We would obviously want to identify apartments that are going to fit our budget and our specific needs. If we have a need to be close to grandma who lives on the west side of town, then that's probably where we want to be looking from a spatial perspective. If we have to have an apartment that's going to cost less than $1,000 a month, then that's another constraint that we want to consider. So next step obviously would be to download and install Apartment Auditor from Google Play or from the Amazon store and install it onto your mobile device. Again, it runs on any Android-based phone or tablet running Android OS 3.x or higher. It also runs on some of the more popular e-readers from Amazon. Obviously next, we'd want to arrange to meet with the landlord and tour our first apartment. During this tour, we're going to be running Apartment Auditor and capturing notes, taking pictures, documenting each room as we conduct our audit. So as you see this step here, we're obviously going to want to tour the most important rooms, but really you should be touring every room. Why? Well, because we know that someday you're going to check out of this apartment, and we want to make sure that we've got documented evidence of the state of the apartment when we moved in. So in the living room, what would we be looking for? Well, obviously carpeting, ceiling, the obvious features of a particular room, but we want to make sure that we also check the outlets, make sure that all the outlets are working properly. Moving on, obviously the bathroom. What are the things we're going to want to look there? You'd want to flush the toilet. Open the drains on the sink. Make sure that water is draining properly out of the shower and tub area. Are the windows properly sealed? You don't want to have a draft in there. Does the bathroom fan work? I would bring a small appliance and make sure that all the GFI ground fault interrupt protected outlets are working properly. On to the kitchen. What do we want to look at in there? Obviously the garbage disposal in the sink. The floor covering, any room that has water running in it, like a bathroom or like a kitchen, can potentially lead or have more problems than rooms without water. If you have an automatic dishwasher, you want to make sure that the floor covering that leads up to that isn't frayed, cracked, peeling, etc. Obviously, all the lights in that room. Again, this room needs to be in the United States. GFI protected, and in Canada GFI protected, so you want to make sure the GFI outlets work properly. On into the bedrooms. Again, here more the typical wall surfaces and ceiling and floor. Want to make sure they're good. Outlets are working. Obviously, if there's any furniture included, that the furniture is not damaged in any way, burn marks, etc. So after we've looked at all the rooms, what we would like to do when we return home, or we can do it right on the spot, is generate a report using Apartment Auditor. And if you choose, you can send that defect finding report onto the landlord right there while you're meeting with them. Next, what we'd like to do, of course, is have a have a choice of more than one apartment. So ideally, like any shopping or buying experience, you want to have 3 to 5 apartments that you're looking at, 3 to 5 apartments that would be on your short list, so to speak, and you want to follow the previous steps, the auditing steps for each of these apartments. When you're done, you want to produce a report for each of those apartments. You then want to do some analysis and do side-by-side comparisons to identify what your best choice is going to be. And best choice, again, is a loaded statement, because there are many factors you're going to want to consider just besides cost. Is it, for instance, close enough to public transportation where you don't have to drive a car? Is there parking for your car? Is there any additional fee? There are many, many things that need to be considered. Once you've identified your first choice, you're going to want to email the defect report or your report that you produced from Apartment Auditor onto the landlord and arrange to have a meeting with them to review the findings that are in that report. If you can come to an agreement, then you also want to make sure that you have in writing any repairs that you've identified. For instance, a dent in the drywall or a leaky faucet that need to be made, and you want to make sure this is in writing. Ideally, you want these repairs done before you move in. You don't want the hassle of having the maintenance man coming in while you're trying to move into the new apartment. Lastly, of course, you're going to want to sign the lease, and then time to celebrate and move in. And that's a good process. I say a process. It's not the only process, but it's a good process that you can use to ensure that you find a high value apartment that meets your needs. Thanks for watching.